Hello, I'm Nadine Brown, the wine director and sommelier here at Charlie Palmer's Steak, right on Capitol Hill. And I've already forgotten what else I was supposed to say. Boy, I'm a bit of a mutt. I'm originally from Jamaica. I lived there till I was 12 and then went to junior high and high school in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and left there and went to Boston for college. So wine was new to me. I grew up with, coconuts and rums. And been here at with Charlie for about 7 years. Love working for Charlie. He's a great chef, but also really wine-centric chef. I think his food goes really lends itself really well with wine. When I found out he was coming to DC, I Googled him and saw a big wine tower in Oriole. He lives in Hillsburg. He makes wines. It's a great location. It's really a really unique location. The restaurant literally is the closest private building to the Capitol. I love that every night I meet people, all over the world that do all sorts of different things. That's about it. Yeah. I'm excited to get started tasting these wines. I think I've had them once before. We had a great event yesterday upstairs on the roof, and it was definitely one of the wines that there was a buzz about, and we have a lot of collectors in the area, wine collectors, a lot of lobbyists, a lot of lawyers, have great wine collectors, and also great people that are on a lot of mailing lists. We have a great corkage policy, very generous corkage policy, two free wines you can bring in, and I actually get introduced to a lot of small production wines from people bringing them in. It's all domestic wine list. All our cheeses are domestic. We love wines from all over the world. Sometimes people are like, what do you mean you don't like French wines? It's just really about our location. And back to when I was talking about Charlie, and Godfather of American cuisine was what came up. To really focus on a lot of local produce and domestic wines. That's all I got.
I'm Lindsay Woodard. I'm the owner of Retour Wines. So I brought 2 vintages for Nadine to taste today. And you tried the 2006 vintage.
Right.
I think about 2 years ago. And so I had the 07 and 08 today. So I thought we could start with the 07 vintage.
I love your label.
Thank you.
It's really striking.
The metal is actually label, and it's all applied by hand.
Okay.
Literally by my family. My mom will put on the front label. I put on the back label. My brother does the hand capsuling, and my dad will help build the boxes. So really, it's all about free labor, essentially.
That's great.
So if anybody wants to come and help label wine, I always make really wonderful lunches, so to make it rewarding. So I make one wine each year, and I started Retour in 2005. Eric Homaker is my rock star winemaking consultant, and so we work very closely together making just this one wine each year. It's a blend of Pinot Noir from 6 different vineyards all throughout the Willamette Valley. So I source fruit from individual sub-AVAs of the Willamette Valley. And the really exciting part is that the average age of all these vines are 38 to 42 years old. Wow. Some of the very first vines planted in Oregon soil. So really precious, beautiful spots throughout the valley. So I choose old vines because of the complexity that you can get from older vineyards, reaching so far into the earth and grabbing that great complexity and minerality. So in the cellar, if you were to walk into the Retour cellar right now, it would look like we're making all these single vineyard wines. So everything is actually fermented and aged in individual lots and aged in barrel that way. And ultimately, we look at the entire blend and almost like the kitchen sink and hope that every barrel will forge together into this one wine, but not every barrel makes it into this blend. So if a barrel has too much acidity and it doesn't fit with the blend, we just declassify it and sell it off as bulk wine. And it can be a beautiful barrel of wine. but it just sometimes, you know, again, it's about the art of blending and trying to keep the integrity really, really high. So anywhere from 600 to 900 cases are made each year. And I'm striving every year to create something that's very expressive of the Willamette Valley. So it's very fashionable in Oregon to focus on single vineyard wines.
Right.
And I think the most interesting wines from our region are those that are blended.
Right.
It's how you get a lot of depth and character, really great richness, beautiful acidity, exotic spices, something that, you know, each vineyard can have this beautiful attribute. And when you put it all together, you get this really super complete wine.
This is gorgeous. I know '07 was a
Thank you.
really difficult year in Oregon, and you know, tasted a lot of them. And this was a great wine for a difficult vintage. The first thing I noticed about it was that you could see through it, which is one of my prerequisites for great Pinot. There are definitely, you know, a few winemakers that are able to make pretty big Pinots that are well balanced. You know, they're still pretty billed, but pretty well balanced. But for me, I think Pinot Noir is definitely one of those varietals that want to speak, you know, about where it was planted, you know, where it's from. And it tastes like Willamette. I think yesterday we were talking about, I was lucky to go to Pinot Camp a couple years ago, and really learned a lot about the different clones that you use up there. Mm-hmm. And I think that also leads to that style. There's one in particular, it starts with a W. Ladensville, yeah, that you use there a lot. I think that helps to distinguish it.
Which is a big part of this wine as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Pommard, a little bit of 777, but primarily in Oregon, the initial plantings were Pommard and Ladensville and the Corey clan, so that's what we really focus on.
And so, you can get too much, you know, into the clonal selections, but it's almost, I use the analogy with apples, you know, just the different types of apples. I mean, there's so many, you know, just hundreds of different varietals that give, you know, and how each part in each vineyard comes together to make a really great wine. I like the color. I mean, it's starting to, maybe that's a combination of the age, just starting to show a little bit of breaking, a little bit of, you know, it's not purple.
Right.